We've all been there, right? You get a brilliant idea, a real game changer that could solve a huge problem. But there's this giant canyon between having that great idea and actually making it happen. In this explainer, we're going to show you exactly how to build the bridge to cross it. And this is the question that just drives so many of us crazy. You do all the hard work, the brainstorming, the analysis, but when it's time to actually do the thing, it all just falls apart. Why does that happen? And more importantly, how do you make sure it doesn't happen to you? So here's our game plan. We're going to start by really framing the problem. Then we'll walk through a super practical 5-step framework for getting things done. We'll also cover the big watchouts, opposition, and those nasty side effects. And we'll wrap it all up with a story that shows you exactly what happens when you skip the rules. Okay, so you've got the idea. Now what? Well, now comes the real test. Because moving from a plan on a slide deck to a real change in the real world, that's where everything either succeeds or fails. We're not just talking about checking off tasks here. We're talking about making a change that actually sticks. Think of this table as your implementation cheat sheet. Over in the do column, you see, it's all about people, right? Involve the owner, talk to people, communicate. But that don't column, that's where the danger is. These are the silent project killers. Underestimating how long things take, ignoring the critics, and just letting inertia grind the whole thing to a halt. So how do you make sure you stay in that do column and avoid all those don'ts? Well, that is exactly what this 5-step framework is for. It's your blueprint. It's a reliable, repeatable process for turning your idea into reality without falling into those same old traps. First things first, and this one is an absolute deal breaker. You must get approval from the problem owner. And I don't just mean a quick signature. I mean walking them through everything, explaining the options you thought about, and making a rock-solid case for your solution. If they aren't totally comfortable and bought in, you just can't move forward, period. So once you've got that green light, you build your plan. This is where you outline the actual steps, figure out what you need, the people, the money, the tools, and you draft a realistic schedule. And here's the critical part. You have to define what success even looks like. What does done mean? If you don't know the destination, you'll never get there. With a solid plan in hand, it's time to tell everyone what's going on. And how you communicate this makes all the difference. You have to be crystal clear with everybody involved about what you're doing, how you're going to do it, how you'll keep an eye on it, and, this is key, how you'll handle any changes down the road. This is how you build trust and prevent a whole lot of confusion later on. Now, even the most perfect plan doesn't mean it's going to be a smooth ride. The last 2 steps of our framework are all about dealing with the real world. And that means navigating the 2 things you're guaranteed to face: people who don't like the change and surprises. So step 4 is to get ahead of the opposition. Remember, every solution means change, and change makes people nervous. It's just human nature. You have to build support and address concerns before you launch. And then comes step 5, take action. A plan is totally worthless without momentum. You have to be the one to give it that first big push to get things moving. This brings us to one of the biggest, sneakiest risks in any project, the law of unintended consequences. It's a simple idea, really. It just means that any action you take can, and probably will, create new, totally unexpected problems. Check out this real-world example. In 2008, authorities shut down a ton of servers that were pumping out like 40% of the world's spam. Great news, right? Junk mail went way down. But the unintended consequence was that spammers just got smarter. They unleashed these things called botnets that found new, sneakier ways to get email addresses. The problem didn't go away, it just mutated. And we see it again here. In Saudi Arabia, they rolled out all these new e-services to make life better for people. An awesome goal. But since the tech was new to a lot of users, it created a golden opportunity for scammers who pretended to be legitimate services to steal money. The solution, better services, created a new problem, the need for better cybersecurity training. It's like a game of whack-a-mole. So what does it look like when somebody just ignores this framework completely? Well, let's look at a quick cautionary tale about Rashid and his boss, Asma. It shows exactly how a great intention can just completely fly off the rails. So here's how it went down. Asma, the VP, tells Rashid, hey, improve our educational tours. Simple enough. Rashid decides adding classes is the answer, but he never actually runs this by Asma. That's step one, thrown right out the window. Then he goes to the developers and just tells them to do it, completely blowing past their concerns about cost and effort. That's a failure of step four, anticipating opposition. So what happens? Asma starts seeing these strange funder quests she knows nothing about. She's totally blindsided, and boom, she shuts the whole project down. Rashid wanted to surprise her with a success, but he ended up surprising her with a mess, all because he skipped that critical first step. So let's bring it all home. This is not just a random checklist. This is your sequence for success. Get the owner's approval first, then build a solid plan, then tell everyone about it. Then get ready for pushback, and only then you take action. You follow these steps in this order, and you'll be building momentum instead of hitting roadblocks. Following these steps is what turns a good intention into a real, tangible impact. It's the difference between an idea that dies on paper and one that actually transforms your organization. So the next time you have a great solution, the real question isn't whether your solution is ready. The question is, are you?